Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in to today's Faithfully Her. I am your girl, Liana Michelle, and I have another exceptional woman on our platform today to come and talk to us. I read her bio, and I'm like, oh my God, her resume is immaculate. Like the things that she's involved with and that she's doing in her community for her people and just for people in general is just amazing. So we have with us today Karen Osborne, who is an author. She's a certified marriage works counselor. She's a certified life coach. She's a mentor. She's the co-founder of Marriage Talks with the Osbornes, and she's the owner of K's Touch Consulting. She also has over 35 years of community service as a community service advocate. And she is the author of How to Love a Godly Man. And y'all know I've been talking about a man. So I'm so happy to have her on with us today. So everybody, please put your hands together and join me in welcoming Mrs. Karen Osborne.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much again for agreeing to come on and meet with us today. I'm so excited to jump into everything. So I guess we'll start with like unpacking one thing at a time. So let's start with the years of the community service and advocating for people in the community. Talk to us a little bit about how you got started with that and what exactly that role was for you.
Okay. Are you talking my job wise or coaching couples?
Okay, well, let's go with the coaching. Let's start with coaching.
All right, my husband and I,
I'm so sorry.
He's an assistant pastor at church, and I had some friends coming to me, which were like women asking about advice or talking about their husband because they knew we had been married for a long time. And then he would have some fellas coming to him, talking to him. And me and him would talk and say, well, you know what, if they would just share this information with each other, it's so simple to resolve the issues that they have in their marriage. So it kept happening. And then we would get referrals of people, do you talk to couples? And we're like, well, no, we don't, but we will. And so as this kept happening, we had decided this is a ministry that God has placed in us because of what we had went through in our marriage. And just the different experiences, we realized it was a ministry that we needed to launch because it was just coming to us hand over foot. So we made it more organized and professional and got a contract, and we call ourselves coaches because we are not licensed counselors. So we coach. And my husband also marries couples. So this helps as well because when he marries them, he tells them, you must go through this coaching. Otherwise, I can't stand before God and marry you knowing that I have not helped you with tools for your marriage.
How long have you been married?
So we've been doing this probably about, we've been married now 41 years.
Ooh, let's give that a round of applause. That is beautiful. Some people don't even make it 41 days. That is beautiful.
41. Yes, we met when I was 16. Got married at 18.
Oh, wow. So I know you stated that, you said you kind of alluded that you guys have gone through your ups and downs, and based on that, you were able to understand or coach other people. A lot of people, and I'm included, because I'm a person that will, I didn't flip my ring off. I'm a person who will wash my hands of a situation, like really quick. Like once I'm irritated, once you cross the line, once I feel like I'm disappointed or whatever it is, I'm like, I don't want to deal with that person no more. And I will totally tune a person out. So how in your 41 years of marriage, how did you guys learn to overcome those hurdles to stay 41 years later?
Oh, it's definitely not easy. It took a lot of prayer. We had to make sure God was in the triangle. That's what we coach, that the two couples you're at the bottom on each end and God is at the top. So if we kick God up here in the marriage, that'll help sustain it. And so, it was very hard, believe me. At 10 years of marriage is when we had filed for divorce. So to get back, be separated for 5 months and then miraculously got back together. And I mean, it was God. We had to put some things behind us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see the person you was dating while you was separated driving down the street beside you two in the car after we didn't got back together. We both thinking some kind of way, like, oh God, what is he gonna say? Oh my God, is he gonna remember? Or is she gonna remember? You know what I'm saying? It stirs up stuff in you, but we had to learn to push it down, talk about it, move forward, and make sure it stays in the past. Because if we didn't keep it in the past, it was going to be continued arguments, continued remembrance of the bad time.
Right.
And what we was focusing on is going forward and what God had allowed to happen to bring us back together. So it wasn't easy. It took a lot of prayer, tears, quietness at times where neither one was just saying anything, because it's like we're both wondering, what is the other thinking? You know, what is the other one thinking? So honestly, it took God and prayers to help us.
Were you both always in the church, or, or did that come as you guys grew and he became a minister or so forth, or was he always, or was your foundation always in the church?
Actually, my foundation was in the church, and actually Church of God in Christ. My father was a deacon, Sunday school teacher, became a minister, became associate pastor, became a pastor, became a bishop. Oh. So mother was an evangelist, a prophetess. My husband born Baptist, but didn't have that relationship with God. And so of course, girl meets bad boy, and it was like, oh, who is this? You know? And it took time in the marriage. I mean, the foundation was there. He was used to going to church, but not like me, and not like the particular relationship you should have. But God was using him all along. He would have him reading the Bible. He read the Bible twice all the way through, not knowing God was preparing him.
Right. Okay.
For who he is now. So no, it wasn't always a relationship with God in our marriage, but it was always tugging at me until the point came when I decided, you know what? I just got to go for me. That relationship with God got to be personal. If he don't want it, then he don't want it. And when I did that, which all this is in the book, when I did that and started praying for him, God pulled him. But I had to be in the right position to get pulled.
Yes. Now, as you were talking, I was just having a flashback memory of when I was a little girl and I lived down south with my grandparents. And I remember my grandmother was avid churchgoer, avid believer, at like, oh my God, 5-6 days a week, we at the church. Our house was actually right behind the church parking lot, so we couldn't get away with not going. But I can remember my grandfather wouldn't go, and there would be those Sunday mornings where my grandmother would be like, "Babe, you really need to start coming to church with me." And and they were married for I don't know how long. Yeah. And but I could just remember those conversations with him or her, of her urging him and nudging him on to come on and go to church with us, come on and go to, and we all lined up, stacked behind her walking to the church or whatever. But I could just remember that. So I can just imagine what that could have been like for you, where you're the avid church goer and he's like, oh, maybe next Sunday. And I remember my grandfather would stay home and listen to baseball on the radio while we were at church.
At church.
So,
I got, definitely.
And it's just amazing though. They say that the man is the head of the house, but the woman is the neck. And she could turn that head whichever way. So yay for you staying in prayer and being a praying woman for your husband and, getting him to see what God already knew. Exactly. That was there inside of him. So yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, indeed. And now he is fulfilling that role for many years now as the head of the house and the shepherd, the one that covers us. Like I say, he's an assistant pastor, so he's doing it.
Yes, look at God. And you know,
Look at
people
God.
never know what God has in store for them. So I was just talking to some people the other day, and I was telling them, you know, some people would say, oh, if I could go back and do it all over again, the things that I would change. And I used to be one of those people to say, you know what, if I could go back, I would do this different, I would do that different. But then when I sit now in my 40s and I think about it, I'm like, you know what, Jesus, I thank you for that journey, because it taught me so much. I grew up and I am the person that I am today because of those things that happened back then. And if I would have changed those things, where would I really be right now? Who would I be? You know what I'm saying? So we have to like appreciate the journey is what I'm saying, everybody. Appreciate your journey.
Yes. Yes. And a lot of times he allows us or lets us go through things to strengthen us, to give us more faith. And then those situations, we can help others.
Yes.
Because we've been through them.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get into the book, but I want to talk a little bit about submission. That seems to be such a hot topic, right? Because women, I'm not submitting to no man. He better cook his own meals, or I'm not his slave or his maid or this and that. And I don't think we really understand what being submissive means. So can you kind of break that down for us?
Well, to me, I mean, that everybody really don't like that word, but really it's being selfless. To me, is you're being selfless in a marriage, in that commitment, that covenant. You are to be selfless and allow each other the support. Like, think of him instead of me at all times. So it's reciprocated. Like, yes, I cook, I clean, but he will cook on a Saturday because he's not working. I'm retired. But he will cook on a Saturday and fix breakfast for us and bring it to me. Because of what I do for him, he in turns do for me. Yeah. So if you look at it as we're a team, that's what we preach. We are a team. And what's best for one should be best for both. Yeah. So whatever I'm doing is not just because of him, I'm doing it for me. Yes, I want my house clean. I feel like a good meal. And if not, we're going to order out or we'll go out. But it's what's best for the team. And so we always looking at how to please each other.
So let's get into the book. And that was kind of like my segue. Okay. So the book is titled How to Love a Godly Man. So tell us, give us the overview of what your book is giving us.
Okay. It tells you actually our life story from meeting all the way up to now, and how God intervened in every step from age 16 to now, and the different things that we went through. Some of the things are not openly in depth, but you get the picture of what transpired and how God brought us out. And at the end of each chapter, there are tips to man and woman to help your marriage or relationship, or even going into a relationship. There are tips in there to help you. So it's an enjoyable journey. True, a lot of people here in Warren, where I live, knew us in high school because we was just that couple. They just knew us. It never was Pierre or just Karen. It was Pierre and Karen. Oh, there's Karen and Pierre and Karen, Pierre and Karen. So they look at us because they know our story. And so God had me put it in a book, put it out there, and let it help others. So that's what it is in a nutshell.
Okay, so when we talk about a godly man, mm-hmm. Okay, a lot of things kind of come to my thinking process. So I want to go into, I did a series at my church. My pastor did a series with us on relationships. And I want to say it was like a 6 to 8 week study series that he did with us. And he talked about, the woman's role, the man role, and the, the shepherd and everything. And one of the things that I think probably stuck out with me the most is that a man is to provide, protect, and profess. And I kind of look for that in a sense when I'm dating somebody, and say we're 2-3 months into dating, and I'm looking to see if he has those type of characteristics, to the point where back in my day, I don't do this anymore. Okay. And I might implement it again. I don't know. I think it helped a little bit, but I used to run tests. I used to do tests on people. And I would grade you based on how you reacted or responded to the test that I threw out there. Okay. No one knew it was the test but me. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. For instance, I had a vehicle breakdown once, and the guy I was dating, I was like, well, the car broke down. This is where I am. And I left it. Now, if you care enough and you're into protecting and providing and all, you're gonna come and get me, and you're gonna make sure that this is not gonna happen to me again. And he passed that test. So I was like, oh yay, he passed. Okay. Let's move on to test number 2. You know what I'm saying? Right. So in that, for our men that's listening, can you get them, because a lot of times men think, oh, she's just out for money. She just wants somebody to do something for her. They don't really understand what providing, protecting, and professing really means. So can you give that explanation for them?
Well, what they have to understand is what a woman is looking for is someone that will support her, where she feels comfortable and feels protected. That's what we're looking for. Like you said, a test, for instance, you walking down the sidewalk to go into a building, the both of you, he should be making sure you're on the inside of the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. That's a test. That means he's watching out for you, for your protection, to make sure if by chance a car comes by, it's going to hit him first before it hits you. Right. That says a lot. Yes, I'm going to lay down my life for you. That says a lot. Now, they don't always do this, but opening up the door. You get to a place, don't get out, come around and open the door. Now, we've been married so long, sometimes my husband do it, sometimes he don't. But I don't take offense when he don't, because of all the other things he do. So right. You have to keep that in mind. What's the most important of the things they do? A provider, Lord have mercy, that is so important. If he showers you with gifts, and I'm talking about something little, like my husband know I like Snicker bars. He may, on the way coming home from work, come in and lay a Snicker bar on the kitchen table. That says more to me than flowers, because I like Snicker bars. Right. You cared enough to make a stop just to do that for me. So yeah, that's little. I get big things too, but that right there showed me you pay attention to what I say or what I like. So it's mainly having that support, that's protection, knowing that they care. It's the little things. Tap on the butt, kiss on the lips. You in the kitchen washing dishes, put the dishes in the dishwasher, and pap. That lets you know, instead of like, what are you doing? No, girl, he's still interested. No, girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I love it.
That little stuff.
Yes. Yes. And that matters so much. I have a friend that I was dating, and I used to always tell him, like, hey, I'm a girl, right? I'm a girl, right? Like, I get that I'm like the home girl, and I could crack jokes and I can hang, like, I get that, but I'm a girl at heart. And he'll be like, oh, you a woman. And I'm like, no, you're not listening to me. I am a girl at heart, which means I like flowers. I like nice things. I like gifts. I like to feel special. I want to be wined and dined. I'm not saying we have to do that every single night, but dang, what I'm saying? So yeah, so I definitely understand what you're saying. It's about the little things that really, really count. Because even now, I always tell people I buy my own flowers. Because if I'm waiting for a man to do it, I'll be dead. And I'm not get a man. So if I want to smell the beauty of fresh flowers in the house. I go out and buy 2 bouquets for myself, put them up, and I love to walk in the door and get that whiff of those. Like, it makes me feel better.
That's it.
Yeah, so I definitely understand what you're saying about them listening, paying attention, and picking up on those little context clues, and doing those little bitty things just to make a woman feel special. And heard and cared for.
Exactly.
Yeah, that stuff matters. But you brought up something about, the washing the dishes, the pat on the butt. So you brought me to my next point that I had jotted down.
Okay.
Sex in marriage. I have a friend who is married, and he says that his wife, I guess his sex drive is still on 15 years old. And, her sex drive is not on a 15-year-old's level. So he complains a little bit about the fact that she doesn't initiate it. She doesn't really want it as much. She doesn't dress up and do like sexy lingerie or outfits or things like that.
Right.
It kind of it turns him off. To where now he is like, I don't want to say he's looking outside of the marriage, but he's looking outside of the marriage.
That's going to happen.
For a couple that's in that type of a situation, what advice would you offer?
Well, first of all, for her, I mean, has he talked to her and expressed how he is displeased and want to know?
I did ask that question. I said, well, have you talked to her and told her, like, hey, I need more physical attention. And he says that he has, but I'm not in their marriage. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? He might just be trying to justify his actions out here in the streets when I ran down on him and said, boy, what you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Right. But in that situation, first of all, if he did talk to his wife, and if she is caring as a wife, she would then go to the doctor to find out, is there something, my estrogen, is something going on, premenopause, something is going on, and can we talk about it and see what can be done? Secondly, and I'm gonna confess this, at one point in our marriage, I remember my husband telling me, and I had gotten comfortable. You get comfortable, certain kind of pajamas, you just get comfortable to go to bed, because in your mind, you're thinking, no, we're gonna have sex, the pajamas coming off anyway, so what's the difference? Girl, one night, I remember we went to bed, it was quiet, and I'm almost asleep, and then I hear my name, Karen. And I'm like, the way he said Karen, he about to say something. Like, I got nervous, like, well, what? He had to tell me, he said, I want you to not wear those kind of pajamas to bed no more. I said, okay. All you have to do is tell me. I got it. Okay. But see, you get comfortable when you can't get that comfortable. So I'm at the point where I get hot a lot. So what I did is got them silky shorts and tank top.
Yeah.
All good, because it's showing some stuff.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm still comfortable, still cute, and he's satisfied.
Right.
So there's compromise in that. But if you don't talk to each other, you won't know. And then wandering eyes will go somewhere.
Yes. And it's so crazy how it's so many women out here who are seeking that married man with that wandering eye. And I have told people this before. I've confessed my sins. I actually dated a married man for 7 years, several years ago.
Yeah.
And for 7 years we were in that relationship, and we never even talked about what was happening between him and her, or why him and her was having, like, it didn't even matter. It didn't exist. And it really didn't even come into my psyche to care about it until she called me.
See.
And then it was like, oh my God, okay, now I feel bad. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like, what am I doing?
Even though I denied, I did deny. I said, girl, I don't know who your husband is. I don't know that man. I just got this number yesterday. But it did hit home for me to where I had to sit down and have that conversation with him and say, you know what, I can't. Like, now that she didn't call me and it's a situation and an issue, you know, I didn't feel the same moving forward.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so, you know, men will wonder if they're not happy in that household, the same way that woman will wonder.
Exactly. It's both ways. It is. It is definitely both ways.
I have a friend that was telling me about, I guess he had been cheating on his girl, and they're not married, but they've been together like, I guess, 10 years now. And he had been cheating on her the whole time. She has caught him multiple times. So now she has a new man, and he can't handle
it. Of course not.
And it's like, well, what did you expect? At some point, she was gonna get fed up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And she was either gonna leave you or give you what you've been giving her. And so in those type of situations, I personally feel like if nobody can be faithful, why are you guys together? Just walk away.
Walk away. That's right. That's exactly right. Walk away. And it takes a lot to I want to say, to stay married, to stay committed. It really does. It's more than just love. It's knowing that you have a covenant. It's that commitment that you made. You both have to be on the same page. And I mean, know that you are in a team, because it's easy for one to be taken for granted. That's what caused our initial divorce papers, of being taken for granted, hanging with friends, all of that, cheating, just all of that. Then it caused, this is how I told him, and I tell other women in the marriage, and like I said, we was married 10 years. I would look at a Indian totem pole. That's how I would see the love tank. And every time he did something that hurt me, disrespected me, it was not going to level down. So it was getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and to a point where I got to, okay, I don't care no more. And so I set him up to fail with, our 10-year anniversary was coming up. And I said, if he don't remember, I'm done. He did not remember. But you know what? I knew he's bad with dates. Now, you should remember your anniversary, birthdays, all that stuff. He don't remember his mother's birthday. So I'm the one that have to remind him. But I knew this. But I had already set it up in my mind. If he don't remember, and I ain't going to remind him, I'm done. He was working full-time, going to school full-time, part-time, and coming home at 10:30 from college. And he was doing a paper, and he said that's when he realized it was almost midnight. Oh my God, I forgot my anniversary. But I was done. So I, in turn, turned to someone else, talking. And see, that's where
it starts.
You have to be careful talking to someone else about what was going on in my marriage. And it happened to be the opposite sex. And he was listening, taking notes. Well, she ain't happy. He ain't making her happy. Oh, I bet if it was me, I would do this and I would do that. And that's how we end up getting separated.
Yeah. And it sounds like to me, you were already at your breaking point. So because you knew he was bad at dates, you knew you was gone. You know, exactly. You knew you were gone.
That's why I said it was a setup. It was a setup. Like, oh my gosh, how did I do that? But it was a setup.
Because we do know. We know when we're fed up. We know when we're over it. We know, we might just be trying to hang on to that one little piece of thread, just to hang on just a little bit, just to see. But by that time, we do know that, you know what, I'm over this and I'm ready to go, or I'm ready for him to go. Yeah. Right. Most women do know. I was going to ask you about infidelities in marriage. Now, even though I've been the other woman before, I'm a type of person that if you cheat on me, I'm out. Like, I can't come back from that. In my head, I can't unsee you with another person. Even though I may not know her, I've never caught it, you know, and like in the actual act or whatever. But in my head, I'm thinking, you're giving her feelings that you used to give me, so I don't want you anymore. So if you're in a marriage, how do you come back from infidelities?
That's what I was talking about, how hard it is. And it takes prayer. It takes dedication. It takes both to say, we want this, we're going to do this. And we actually realized that during our 5 month of separation, because we both were seeing other people. He was probably seeing multiple, and I was seeing one, then stopped seeing that one, saw another one, then went back to the first one. So I'm used to just being in a relationship committed.
Yeah.
And while we were out there, I realized, going to the club or wherever and seeing all the single people and everybody looking at each other trying to find somebody. That's when it hit me. I was 28 years old. And I said, oh my God, they're looking for what we had.
Mm-hmm.
They're looking for that partner, the relation, because we had a good marriage. We did. We had a good marriage, but we took things for granted. And that's how situations came into the marriage. If you're not careful and you don't pay attention, situations will come into the marriage and they can destroy it. And so we weren't careful. We wasn't paying attention and took each other's love for granted. And that you'll always be there in the house. You're going to always be there. I ain't got to worry about it. You'll be there because you love me like that. And so that's when it just hit. They're looking for what we had. And we thought our first 10 years was really good. Small situations, we just thought it was good. But when we separated, it was like, oh my God, what just happened? And we both was bullheaded, didn't want to talk about it because of pride. So you're like, you want a divorce? Okay, I want a divorce, we done. And nobody talked besides whatever we need to talk about my daughter, but we did not talk. We just went about our lives waiting for the court date.
Right.
And I want to say court date was going to be final in June. Memorial weekend, we talked because a friend of ours told him I wanted to talk to him. She told me he wanted to talk to me, which was a lie, but we didn't know. So we contacted and we got together. And when we got together that Memorial weekend, it was back on and popping. We was back together, and it's now 41 years.
Amen.
41 years. We knew what we had and how we loved each other. We wanted that. And so that commitment to do that, it was strong, but God had to come into play. And my husband wasn't even in church at that time when we got back together. He wasn't.
Okay.
We wasn't even at the church we're at now, where we've been for 24 years serving in ministry. But it was all orchestrated by God to get us to this point. Right. And we had to go through all of that in order to help other couples as we are.
What they say, sometimes you have to walk away from something to see the value in it, to appreciate it more, so you'll know how to treat it once you get it back.
And that's it. Because girl, both of us, after being separated and almost losing each other, we were at the point when we were back together, we see somebody looking at the other one, you be like, you better get back. we ain't about to do this again. We are not about to do this again. I ain't losing him and he ain't losing me. And we both say, oh, we in this till we die.
Right. Right. So dating, I think that even when you're in a relationship, that, as you stated, you get comfortable sometimes, and the things that you did to get the person you no longer do. So I think that it's important to still date each other while, even though you're in that relationship. So do you guys still have date nights, or, those special moments and times where it's just for you and him?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. We just went to Spiral Gyro concert. And this is one thing for the ladies. I like it when we have date night, especially if we're going to go out, even if it's to a dinner, but to go out to a concert or something. I don't know why, but I feel extra sexy and I want to make sure I look good, and smell good. And I mean, I always dress, but it's something special. I'm going out with my man. It's like that's my boyfriend, and I got some cleavage showing, and the jeans is tight, or the outfit is on point. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and you feel good to be on his arm, and you know,
Yes.
and for me, it's crazy because I like to feel like I am that prize when we walk in.
That's
And
it.
now everybody wants what your prize, like I did this today, did I? Okay.
Girl, yes. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes, yes. And
Walk
it
in the
is
room,
important.
walk in the room to be like, oh, that's that couple. Yeah, that's us.
Mhm, mhm. And that is important to do. So, you know, ladies, gentlemen, set those date nights up and go out, get pretty, you know. Especially with COVID, I think a lot of us kind of like threw the towel in, so we stay with the bonnets and
Mhm.
because you know we're confined, right? But
Right,
even
right.
in that, you have to find that moment. I always tell people you don't have to do it every day. It doesn't have to be an all the time thing, but take that time to put on some sexy lingerie and make yourself
Right.
pretty and and greet him.
Exactly.
You know,
Hello.
hey, I'm so happy you're home. You know what I'm saying, or
Yes.
something, just to keep the spark alive, keep the interest
Yes.
there, keep him on his toes, because now you don't know what you're gonna walk in the door to. You know what I'm saying? And it keeps like I said, it keeps the spark alive. I think keeping the spark alive in your relationship is so important. And if date night helps with that, then please, y'all, get some date nights. Okay.
That's
Go
right.
on some
That's
dates.
right. And if you know your spouse is not good at doing that, then you do it. Like I say, don't set them up or set her up to fail. If you know they're not good at making dates and doing stuff, you do it. Long
Mhm.
as it gets done and you have that spice in your life. Yes. And same thing for fellas. Make sure you look nice. Make sure you got on cologne. Make sure your fingernails is good. You know what I'm saying? Your
Yes.
toes. You know, women like a good smelling man that looks good and groomed well.
Yes. Yes, we do. We want a good grown man. Please groom
Yes.
yourself.
Yes.
That's one of the things I taught my son. I used to tell him, like, baby, you got to make sure you groom yourself. And this might sound a little inappropriate, but I would tell him, it's going to come a day where you're going to want a young lady to put her head in your lap. If it's not smelling right, she's not going to want to do that. So
That's
you
right.
need to keep it groomed. You know what I'm saying? Clean, make
Yes.
sure you're powdered down, this and that. So definitely
Yes.
groom yourself. Like if I could teach my child that, then y'all
Yes.
grown. Y'all should know better.
You got that right. That's right. That's right. It
Oh
goes
my
both
goodness.
ways.
It does. It goes both ways. So let's go more into with you're the co-founder of Marriage Talks with the Osbornes. So
Mhm.
I'm presuming that that's you and your husband,
Yes.
the Osbornes. And with the marriage talks now, would this be before like a pre-marital thing or after they're married, or is this a podcast you guys are doing? Give me more information.
Okay. It's actually for both pre-marriage. So if someone wants to get married and wants my husband to marry them, then they go through the coaching sessions with us, about 5 sessions. The same material we have works for beginning to get married or having marriage problems. We get a lot of 30 something to 40 something year old couples that are coming wanting help in their marriage. That's about the age range that we're getting. The other ones are ones wanting to get married, but it works for both because it's 7 fundamental facts that we deal with, and it's faith, friendship, forgiveness, fidelity, finances, family, and one other one, frankness.
Okay.
So we talk to them about those 7 F's, and whatever they're going through in their marriage, it's going to fit in one of those.
Yeah.
So we just deal with all 7 in a marriage, whether they're about to get married or having problems in their marriage. And a lot of times, and we do it in our home and sometimes through Zoom. Like we just had a couple that's in Illinois, so we do Zoom with them. But we have people come to our home, sit in our living room where it's comfortable. We let them know that this is a safe zone. Whatever we talk about in our home, it stays in our home unless they tell someone that they're meeting with us. That's up to
Right.
them. And we tell them whatever you discuss in front of us, don't take it with you when you leave and want to keep talking about it because, oh, I didn't know you felt like that, or oh, why did you say this? No, leave it here with us. We'll deal with it with you until our next session. And every single couple have said they felt comfortable, and surprising the men that talk. Usually men don't talk,
right?
But we commend them for wanting to talk to us, let alone another man that they don't even know. So we count it all joy for God that he opens that door and that these couples feel so comfortable to talk because they really want to resolve the issues in their marriage because they want their marriage to work. So we're very thankful for that.
And that is a beautiful thing because, as you stated, men sometimes don't express their feelings. And a lot of that, it might be a generational mindset that, real men don't talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And because of that generational thinking of what a real man is, they hold all those things in. That anger just sits and festers. They shut down on you. And now, you already had a wall to break through, but now you have another wall to get through because they've shut down on you now. So that is very commendable to be able. And I know a lot of guys, they probably do feel more comfortable talking to another man because they feel like maybe I'll be understood and I'll be heard because this man is sitting here. Whereas if I'm sitting in front of a woman talking to her and my wife is here, she gonna automatically take her side. You know what I'm saying? So I think the fact that you guys are doing that together probably helps even more couples than you guys realize.
Oh, and you used to be surprised how things will come out. Like they won't say it to each other alone, but because they feel like, oh, it is a safe zone and we got a buffer, that couple, I'm gonna say it now. They feel, and it's like, well, wow, that came out. And the woman might say, well, I didn't know you felt like that. And he like, well, I didn't know you felt like that. All they had to do was tell each other that. But it took them to come to our home, feel comfortable enough to open up and talk about it. And now it can be addressed.
Yeah. And even for me, when it comes to having those conversations in your relationship, it could be hard sometimes. For me, I can remember just having a hard time expressing my feelings to the person that I was in a relationship with out of fear that they were going to interpret it wrong. It would create a bigger problem. And in the long run, I would lose them. Yeah. Now, they're gone anyway, so it really didn't matter. But in those moments, that would be my thought process. That if I speak my mind, if I say how I feel, then it's going to cause a bigger problem, and this relationship is going to end, and I'm going to find myself alone again, having to go through the cycle all over again. So you know what? I'll just be quiet. I'll deal with it. I'll figure it out. And then that will leave me venting to my girlfriends who are like, girl, if you don't just tell him, we so sick and tired of hearing about this.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. Exactly. And that's what couples, a lot of times they do that. They hold things in. And sometimes they hold it in afraid that the other person will use it against them at a vulnerable moment. A lot of times you're afraid to be very so intimate with the person, telling them your most deep, dark feelings about stuff because they may use it later. And so that's where that trust comes in the marriage. So you have to be careful, but you want that. You want to be able to feel safe with that other person, to be able to talk to them about anything.
Right. Now I know when you were talking about the 7 F's, finance, and I was going to ask you about that because finances does seem to be a big divider in a marriage. Yes. So I have been told that because I have education or I make decent money or whatever, like, oh no, I'm not ready because you got your stuff together and I'm still working on me. And I'm like, I don't believe I've ever emasculated you or threw my money in your face. Like, I'm paying bills and living life like everybody else is doing. Like, I don't understand. So for me, I couldn't understand why that was such an issue for guys that I was dating, the fact that I had myself together. Because in my head, I'm thinking I'm an asset. I'm not a liability.
Right.
You should be dying to be with me. You know
right.
what I'm saying? So,
no, yeah.
But so in that type of a situation, even if the woman is the more predominant one when it comes to the finances, how does that look in a marriage, or how should it be addressed or discussed?
Well, it shouldn't be an issue. Just like you said, that's an asset.
Right.
But some men are intimidated if they making less money. So it's a mindset for the male. If they're making less money than the female, and they're not thinking team. Again, there it is again. If we're a team, it don't matter who's making the most money. This money is coming in to make us better, to help us in our future, and to have a good life. So that's an issue right there. They got to feel like they're in a team. Yet if you're not married, you still got to be careful. You know, yes, you got your money and taking care of your home, and hopefully he coming with good credit and all that kind of stuff. Good job, you know, car to get back and forth to work. I shouldn't have to let you use my car, you know. So in that situation, if I was single, I'm gonna be picky. Yeah, I'm gonna be picky. But if I made more money, that's not gonna be a huge issue. As long as you can bring something to the table, we good. But it's a lot of time it's the male's ego that's a problem.
Because I've even had a guy tell me that I approach it. He said, "You're approaching this as if it's a business deal, and I'm trying to have a relationship with you." And I said, "Well, I am having a relationship with you, but in the process of that, these are things that I need to be able to discuss and know and understand. Like, I'm not asking you to give me your bank account information. I'm just saying, like, hey, so if I do this, I'm expecting that from you. So let's sit down at the table and let's talk about where we are with our finances and how we're moving and what your responsibilities are versus mine, and then what's left. And what can we do with what's left?" And you know, and they're like, "Yo, you're so technical. You're trying," and I'm like, it is a partial of a business. Like, we're business partners too. If we're gonna do this, then yeah, we have to think about it from that aspect as well. And I've had a lot of guys tell me, because my thinking was like that, they couldn't deal with me.
That's a red flag.
Right, which is why I'm still single.
That's a red flag right there. Yes. Now, we're gonna do this together. Yes, we need to discuss things and how we can move forward, and what, you know, say you in a relationship for a while, you might not want to get married, but you want to invest in a house together and live in that house. Well, we gotta talk about this.
Right.
Yes, that's very reasonable. Yeah, that's a red flag if they got an issue with that.
Yeah, okay. See, I'm okay being single, y'all.
Until the right one comes.
Until the right one comes. Until he shows up at the door.
That's right. My mama used
to say, what you doing? Opportunity does not come and knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'm opportunity." So I believe that he's not gonna come knock on the door. But I always say, when God has worked on me or gotten me to the point where he's ready for whoever he is to enter, because maybe he's working on himself over here as well and getting himself together. And at some point in time, we'll trip over each other, we'll laugh, we'll exchange numbers, and it'll be that. You know?
That's right. Exactly.
But until then, I'm okay with me being me and single, and not really putting too much thought process in. Like, I'm not the one waking up every morning like, "Lord, please give me a man today." Like, that is so not me. I'm just like, "Thank you, Jesus. I woke up this morning. Now let's get to work." You know what I'm saying? So when it happens, it'll happen.
My daughter's the same way. She's 39. She'll be 40 this year. And she has a list of criteria, things that she's looking for in a man, and she ain't found them yet. Like, you know, and I told her some stuff you can change. Like, she wanted to be dark. I said, well, he can be light skinned, and okay, don't let that deter you. And here he is, and you just dismissed him. You know, he got to have dreads. Okay, he got to have dreads. Okay, but she got a list, you know, and it's good. Don't settle. wait for God to present the right one, and you'll know when he is the right one. Yes,
And you don't know. And, I know firsthand writing things down does help. Before I had my son, like when I was like 16, I had a suicidal attempt. And when I woke up from that, I remember writing down all of these things like, Lord, I feel like this would benefit, like just writing all these things down.
Yes.
And I put it in the Bible. I prayed over it. I stuck it in my Bible and I really forgot about it. It's like my Bible that I sit next at my nightstand next to my bed. And I went on, forgot about it, kept moving, kept living. And years later, after I had my son, and I was moving, and that Bible fell, and it opened up, that letter fell out. And I said, what? And I read, and I was like, oh my God, these are like all the things but God gave me those things, but he gave them to me and my son.
Yes.
He was the one who loved me unconditionally, was willing to grow with me, laugh with me, as well as at me, and these type of things, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Provide me a sense of family that I didn't feel.
Wow.
And I said, oh my God. And it just made me realize that my child was the blessing.
Yes.
And, I thank God for that. So I remember again, later on, me doing the same thing your daughter did, writing it down. Like, let me put it on paper. This is what I need. This is what I believe I need. And this is what I believe I want.
Yes.
And
yes.
I prayed over it. And now God's plan might be totally different from what I jotted down.
Right.
But I feel like it's a good blueprint for him to start.
Just in case he's going to give me my desire.
It's a good blueprint, Jesus. Start somewhere.
Yeah. I'm just letting you know what I like.
So tell your daughter, kudos to her for, and it says to be specific in what you ask God for.
Yes, you have to be. You got to be very careful what you pray, because if you're not specific, you can get what you ask for, and it might not be exactly what you wanted.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And and I always remind people, like, God, we think we know what we want. We think we know what we need. And God will not give us what we say we want or need. And then we get upset, like, Lord, why couldn't I have that? Why couldn't I have that? Because that is not what's meant for you.
Right.
So God is going to give you what is meant for you, what is good for you, what's going to feed your spirit and your soul and the person that you are. Because a lot of times what we want doesn't feed us.
That's right.
It doesn't nurture the person that we are destined to be, So we have to learn to just trust God's process, trust the plan, and just go through it and thank him each and every day, because we know we're getting closer and closer to where he wants us to be.
That's right. And he already knows the whole plan. He already knows the end. So if we don't get specific things that we ask for, it's because he already knows that's not what I have planned for you. Right. That's not going to be good. So as you say, trust the process, pray about it, and leave it, and have that faith that God is going to handle it and give you what you actually supposed to have. And then we in turn, we keep on serving him, doing what we're supposed to do, and all those other things will come.
Amen. Yes, they will. Amen. I wanted to also talk to you about letting things go. I know you were talking about you in the marriage and infidelities and trust and finances and all of these things that can happen to cause a disruption in the marriage. And then, as you stated, like how you and your husband got back together. But so how do you let go of a hurtful situation or the pain that it caused you? Because a lot of women would say, oh, I forgave them. And like you said, they'll throw it back up in your face. I forgave them. I took them back. We're working on things. And then the minute the car don't start, is you cheating so-and-so and so, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like one don't have nothing to do with the other. Right. So why did we bring it back up?
Exactly.
So what type of advice do you give your couples in that type of a situation?
Okay. We tell them when there's a hurtful situation in the marriage, they have to be willing to talk about it and then apologize. I mean, sincere apology that how I made you feel, what I did, I'm sorry. And the other person have to sincerely be ready and willing to accept that apology. And then you both move forward. Now, you don't forget, it'll creep back up. And when it creeps back up, you're supposed to push it back. Don't keep bringing it up or entertaining the thought.
Okay.
I knew a person that situation happened in their marriage, and I think there was a song that kept reminding them of it. So they would keep playing the song. Well, why?
Right.
It's going to keep reminding you of the hurt. And so that hurt is staying in the forefront instead of it being able to heal. So the only way to heal is to accept the apology. The person got to be sincere. The other person willing to accept, and then put it behind you. And it takes time. It ain't gonna be overnight. It do take time and prayer that God help me to get over this, help me to deal with it. And hopefully the other person that did the hurt don't do something else again. You know what I'm saying? Because when they do, right, this is coming right back. Like, oh, I didn't had it back here. Now here it comes again, because you already done something. And now here you've done it again. So how can I believe? So right, that's what we tell them. You got to be intentional with not trying to hurt your spouse with the same thing that you already did, that you asked for forgiveness for. That's what we tell them.
That pattern of behavior.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody has to break the pattern.
Yes. The change.
Yes. Yeah.
Do.
And that is important. Yeah. I let things go sometimes. No, I usually have to pray on it too. Like, Lord, please help me let this go, because I don't want to be angry forever and everything. Right. So,
and that's natural. That's natural. And you're doing the right thing. You said, Lord, please help me, because you don't want to keep holding on to it, because it's such a burden to hold on than to be able to just let it go and feel free.
Right.
Because it's always sitting there, it's like heavy on your shoulder. Like, is he doing this? Or, oh my gosh, should I check his phone? You're expecting something.
Yeah. You're and that phone is dangerous.
Oh God.
That phone is dangerous.
Phone, Facebook, social media.
Like, all Lord, that you need 5 different lock codes. And you gotta put the lock on the lock on the lock. Okay. So
and that's another thing. That'll make you suspicious. You got to be careful. Every time I turn around, you're looking at your phone, but then I come by, the mail might do that. Well, what was you looking at? Or did somebody text you? Or you're hearing beep, beep, beep. So you have to be careful with your mind, because even though that was back when, oh God, in the 80s that we was dealing with something, sometimes something will trigger me. It's like, uh-oh. And it don't even be nothing. Right. And I have to squash that. I have to squash, like, devil, you a lie. Don't even try to start. Don't even try to start. I know what's going on in my house. I know where he's at, what he's doing. I know the love that he's showing me. So how dare you try to make me doubt something?
Yeah.
But that's how he works.
Yeah. To kill, steal, and destroy, right? That's what he does. So yes, we have to be mindful of that. Very much so. And that's in your person, that's in all your lives. In every aspect of it. The devil's job is to steal, kill, and destroy. So any aspect of your life that you're dedicating it to God, or you're being you're being faithful or steadfast, or you're doing your best to do the right thing and stay on the right path, the devil is going to come in there and he's going to do his work, because he wants to disturb that. He doesn't want you in the kingdom of heaven. So he's going to do anything to disturb that peace. So we as Christians, as human beings, we just have to be mindful of that particular point. And another thing I always tell people is to remember that the devil knows your heart desires just like God does. he knows your wants and your likes and your dislikes and what makes you cool and smile and all. He knows all of that too. So he knows how to paint it up, dress it up in a nice package for you. Right?
Yes, it does.
And give you that package, and you thinking it's heaven sent, like, whoa, girl, he smelled good.
And then open up like, woo.
Right. And then what they call it when the representative leaves, because what they say, the first couple of months of you dating somebody, you're dating their representative. Yeah. And then once you get comfortable into that process, you really start to meet the person that they are. So once the representative leave, you realize that he was not heaven sent. That was a devil straight out of, like, he took the jet plane here. We gotta say him.
Right. Oh, it's like, where did that representative go?
Right. Like, what happened to the other guy? He was nice.
Yeah.
It's hard out here though, dating nowadays, because you have so much, how can I say this nicely? You have so many women and men, because I'm going to throw them in here too, but you have so many different people that are into alternatives.
Yes, Lord help us.
And you know, whether it's, oh, I want to have 2 women in my bed, to, you know, whatever, but there is so many different alternatives to this. And for a relic like myself, who is like, nah, I'm sorry, I'm not, you know, down with all of those things, it's hard to find a good substantial guy who kind of has the same values and morals and characteristics and, you know, those principles and values of your upbringing. It's kind of hard to find that mesh. So for the women like me who are just like, girl, I'm just to be all right being single, what can you help us? Can you help us?
Girl, I don't know, because I'm seeing what's being said and done and what's going on. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know.
It's a lot, right?
Yes. How do you, I mean, it's a lot of interrogation that you got to do to date somebody, because are you on the down low? You've been with men before. Do you have that streak that you might think you get? You know, it's a lot. And some men you can't tell because they are so manly. You don't even know that they like men. Right. So, I mean, then there's the women. Think it's your friend and girlfriend looking at you. It's like,
right.
I mean, I've dealt with that in the church world, where woman like, oh, you look something like, girl, you look good. I'm like, wait a minute, you ain't say that right. Hold up, you didn't say that right. You know what I'm saying? So I can imagine what you women are going through with men that are single in this day and age. I don't even know. I just say a lot of interrogation. And you know how you used to say, oh, find a man in the church. Some of them. You gotta
be careful of that too now. Yes. You know, you really, really do.
Yes. Some of them, I don't know, you just gotta look at the past. You know, what's you know, they got one facade while they're at church, and there's another facade once you get them outside of the doors.
Yeah.
So I just say, if you're gonna date somebody, date for a minute so that you really can see every aspect of that person. Surprise them, surprise them at the house. Is it clean, or is the bathroom clean? Let me just see what you're doing on a Saturday at 1:00 in the afternoon. And is it a problem if I don't tell you I'm coming by? You know what I'm saying? Once you get into a relationship, then that's when you can see some of the unknown stuff that you might not know.
I'll invite my gay male friend over and see if it twinkles his eye or not. So, that'll be test
they
number
know.
3.
Girl, because they know.
Right. Test number 3, okay? I'm gonna invite him over for dinner. We're gonna see what happens. Oh my goodness. So with social media, do any of your couples have that trouble with how social media may be playing in their relationships? whether, what is it they slide in your DMs, and, you have so many of the Instagram models, or, social media models who's showing all the skin and everything else. Has that ever came up in any of your situations?
No, not so far. We did have one couple that neither one of them opened up and told us that pornography was a problem. Neither one. And so they ended up divorcing, and then later confessing that, well, there was one part that we didn't tell you guys. And we were like, you could tell us anything. We're not judging nobody just because we are go to church and my husband's assistant pastor. We don't judge nobody. Who are we? We're not God to put you in heaven or hell. So I was like, you could have told us and we could have addressed it. But that's about the only situation. No one has talked about social media being an issue in their marriage.
I remember a couple of years ago, Kirk Franklin came out and admitted to his addiction to pornography and how it was affecting his marriage at the time. Do you think that is, how do I want to say it? So if that person is addicted to porn, is it better for them to let that spouse know and maybe try to have it to where there's something that they're doing together? Or what if they do say, hey, this is something that every night I got to do this before I go to sleep. Like, it's how I sleep at night. If the spouse isn't okay with that, how do they work through that? How do they compromise with that?
And that can be a problem. For one, say the one spouse, or even if both was watching pornography, your mind can get addicted to either that type of woman. If it's a white woman that they're constantly watching, now every time you're in the street, you see a white woman, your mind might go to, I wonder what she looked like in bed. Or even if it's a black woman, you can start fantasizing about other people. And that's not good to bring that into a marriage. It's almost like it's still adultery.
Okay.
You having lust, looking at these people on the film. That's the same as lusting after someone that in front of your eyes.
Right.
It's no different. And it can cause an issue in a marriage because I can't turn you on no more. You got to look at this before you can get turned on. Now you want to be with me.
Yeah.
That ain't good. That's your brain is stimulated by the video and not by me. Yeah.
Right. Or you're requiring me to perform like they're performing in that video. And it's like, I am way too heavy to be hanging from a chandelier. So sorry.
Right. Right. Yeah. Now, speaking on that, couples do need to talk about that. Sex, positions, toys, whatever is good in your relationship, in your bedroom, is for you. Everybody is different. But I would suggest that couples do talk about that, because he may not want to always do the missionary, and you'll find a little spark in your marriage, in your life, when you try some different things, so everybody's different.
Right. And then, it's okay to try things, but like you said, I don't want you to be looking at me and visualizing her.
That's right.
And what she does and how she does it. Now, if we talk about it, you say, hey, babe, so tonight, can we try something a little bit different? Right. You got to tickle you with the feather, like that's a totally different situation, because I'm talking about it. And even if I am a little uncomfortable, I might be able to ease myself into that with you being understanding and patient with me.
Okay. And that's another thing. Gotta be comfortable. If it's something that the other one is uncomfortable with, scratch that off the table. That's off. That's exactly right.
So if I am, because how to love a godly man. So you're thinking that this is a man that is in the church. He's dedicated to his faith. He puts God first in everything that he does. And I'm a young woman who, I go to church. I go to Bible class, I pray, but maybe I'm not as involved as he is. How do that woman get a godly man?
Well, first of all, that's the title, but he wasn't always a godly man. So
Okay.
like I say, it starts from the beginning as who we were and how we got to be to the point of him being that godly man.
Okay.
And being able to love him. So loved him from the beginning and prayed and loved him to now who he also is as a godly man. But it's okay if you're not on the same, I don't want to say level, but spiritual level. It is okay because they can grow to that. Either one can grow to that. The more that you study, get involved and serve in church and read the word and pray, you become more mature in your spirituality. Yeah. And so you can grow together, but it's okay if one passes the other one, as long as you're still growing, and you never stop growing. You never stop.
Right. And that's important too, because I was going to ask you that as far as the different levels of growth, whereas one person might be taking those steps of growth a lot faster than their partner is. And you know how that might even be cause a little friction or conflict within the relationship. So what advice would you tell somebody that's in that situation, to where I'm growing, I'm moving forward, I'm staying consistent with myself, but I see like you would take one step forward and 5 steps backwards. And then you come up 3 steps and we think like, okay, good, you finally got it. And then boom, you drop back down again. So how does that balance?
Well, for one thing, it's very important. Yes, God is first, but your family is second. So I'm saying you have God first in your life, but do not forget your family. So my husband makes sure, even as busy as he is in church, his family is put first. It's God, but he makes sure there's time for the family, time for me. He just works it out. And that's the thing. You can't get so busy in serving God that you didn't forget about your family, forget about your spouse. And now church is everything to you. Right. It's not about the 4 walls. It's about serving God in whatever the capacity he has given you, the gifts and your talents. But don't forget your family to enjoy. He still wants you to enjoy life. So we make sure we don't forget that. And my husband has never forgot. If he can't do something, he's going to say, well, I can't do it. Me and my wife are going out of town, or no, this is our date night, So that's very important, to keep a perspective of your family while you're serving God.
Right. Prioritizing, right?
Yes.
So you have to prioritize and keep the family as a high priority.
That's right.
Because I used to, I still kind of say it now, but I will always say, there's God, there's my son, there's me, there's work. And then everything else comes after that. Like however they want to fight out that other position, they fight it out. But
that's right.
That's pretty much, it's God, my son, me, then work. Because I have to take care of me to be able to take care of him.
Right.
And in taking care of him, I'm honoring my family, because he's my only child. So, it's just he and I. And then when doing so, I'm honoring God, because God gave me him as the blessing. So, it all comes together in that little hierarchy of everything. Yeah. And then everything else after that, I praise God for having the career that I have and being able to do the things that I can do, because I am able to take care of myself, take care of him when he needs me, and honor the church, paying my tithes, my offerings, and whatever little charitable donations I do on the sidelines and things of that nature. I'm able to do all of that, but none of it would be possible if it wasn't for God. So he has to be the head of it all.
Right, because he's the source.
Yeah, he's the source of it. And I think sometimes we forget that, you know, we get to a certain level of success in our lives and we forget to say thank you to the one who made it
That's
possible.
right.
Yeah, yeah. And that's
right.
even in our relationships, you know,
Yes.
oh, I done finally got me a man, girl. I'm married. What is my favorite line from Color Purple? I says I's married now. So,
Mary.
so they hit you with the I's married now, and they forgot, like, girl, 3 years ago, you couldn't get off your knees praying for this man. Now you got him and you can't tell God thank you. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? So yeah, we have to remember to stay in gratitude to God. You know, we can't take
That's right.
God's grace and mercy for granted. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't. Oh, K's Touch Consulting. Can we talk about what K's Touch Consulting is?
That oh God, that involves different things. It can involve just a woman one-on-one wanted to talk with me.
Okay.
It involves I could be a personal shopper. I've had a sister-in-law that said, here's this amount of money, I need some work clothes, can you go shop for me? This is my size. I send her pictures, get it, da 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 da. So, you know, personal shopper, decorator. It just involves a lot of things. Yes, I even had to speak at a medical school. They wanted me to teach the new class about preparing for an interview, how to dress, hygiene, how to prepare for questions, you know, that type of stuff. So it involves multiple things.
So you are just like an around the way Renaissance woman. I am loving you. I am, like, you such an inspiration.
A little bit.
Yeah, because I just had some people tell me, like, girl, you should try modeling. Like, you know, your skin is so pretty and you have such a good, nice figure and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I could take one more thing on right now. Like, you know, I'm studying for this exam. I'm working. Once I pass this exam, it's going to increase my workload in a different direction. And, you know, I'm still trying to build up my YouTube and everything else. But then my son said, why not? Why wouldn't you do it? He was like, it's not like it's going to be every day, 8 hours a day. You're going to get a shoot on one day. Like, you can do it. So now I'm like, okay, well, maybe I will. You know?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, just trying to be that Renaissance woman, like, you know, so many of the great women that I've met through this platform, you guys are so inspirational. And I just see all the things that you're doing, and it makes me feel like, you know what, maybe I can do it. You know, it gives me that oomph that I need when I'm feeling like I just want to throw in the towel and stay where I am.
Yeah.
And then I could go back and watch one of these and say, nope, Sister so-and-so said I can do it. So let me get it done, you know.
Sure enough. And that's another thing I do too. I have modeled. There's a dress shop downtown, and so she'll have a luncheon or a dinner or style show. And so come down and model. So that's fun though, because it's like it's an alter ego. You know, you can come out and step.
I've done it for oh my God, Dress Barn. Dress Barn would do like an annual or maybe, you know, twice a year type thing where they have their customers that will come in and model the clothes in the store, and then they give you a discount on whatever your purchase is for that day. So I have done it for them as far as like a little mini runway in store modeling type thing, but nothing never with like photos and print and where you get paid for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just been in that fun little way. But I am considering it now. I think it's something that I might want to jump into. I wanted to do it when I was younger, but I was told I was too short. So I kind of just gave up on it back then. But, you know, it's a market for short people now. So maybe I can get back into it.
And put on a heel, not as short.
And the sister does stay in a high heel, girl. So what?
Okay. I'm still in them too.
Okay, I love a heel.
Yes.
One more thing that I did kind of want to hit on before we begin to wrap things up is trust. You have to have trust in your relationship, but I want to talk about blind trust. When does trusting your mate or your spouse turn into a blind trust? And if you are in a blind trust situation, how does one navigate through that or out of it?
Blind trust.
Ooh. So it's like, I look at it like the rose-colored glasses. Like you know, they're telling me, oh, I'm going to the gym, but they're not walking out with a gym bag or gym shoes. But you're just gonna trust that, oh, he said he at the gym. Oh. So I just trust it. You know what I'm saying? And that blind trust of believing everything that comes out of the other person's mouth with no doubt, no questions, just taking it for what it is and not ever doubting it.
Well, you won't doubt until something happens and you see something to make you think, wait a minute. So until they show you something that looks fishy, you will trust. It takes a situation to now drop that trust, and now you're always suspicious. Right. But otherwise, if he doesn't show you or she show you anything different, then you're okay to have that blind trust.
Right. Okay. All right.
It's once they do something, then your sixth sense is like, wait a minute. Yeah. Wait a minute. Let me check and see, is he at the gym? Let me get in the car and see. You start doing that stuff.
Yeah. And I think for me, I'm just a skeptical person. Like, I don't believe half of nothing. Like a person can be in front of me and have blue eyes and be like, my eyes are blue. And I'd be like, you lying, they contacts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't. I'm just such a skeptical person. And I guess even with online, so since I've been doing this platform, I've had to put posts up on my social media to say, dear social media, do not slide in my DMs. I'm not desperate. Okay. I'm not stupid. I don't want you. Stop sliding in my DMs, because I'm not going to believe anything you say. I'm not going to trust you are who you are. And I don't do online dating. And especially if you talking about you live in California, why are you contacting me? I'm all the way in Michigan. I don't do long distance. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just automatically skeptical. And that is something that I do kind of want to work on, because I feel like I could be possibly blocking my own blessings, being so skeptical with everybody. Yeah. Like, I just don't trust anybody. I don't know how to get around that. Right. So what advice would you give me for that?
You will have to work on it. You will have to work on that. But in this day and age, you do have to be somewhat skeptical on things, and on people, and verify some things. Google their name, look them up, just to see, do they got a record, as they, so you do have to be cautious nowadays. Right. So it's not totally bad, but you could be blocking some things that's coming your way.
Yeah. And I feel like I've become more like this since my mother passed away, because she was that third eye. She was that character. Yes. Like, oh my God, she was good. She was so good at it.
Mama know. Yeah. Mama knows.
And I just feel like since she's gone now, I don't have that person to say, okay. You know what I'm saying? So now I just have to say to everything, because I don't have her to discern it for me.
Well, and see, now there is where you can ask God, give me the gift of discernment, so that I will know, and I will hear that voice and know that voice is the Holy Spirit telling me, don't go down that road, or don't trust that person, or don't even entertain them. Yeah. That would be mama for you.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna definitely, because I feel like I can do it with my son. Like he could have a conversation. I'd be like, well, baby, think about it from this way. Or, maybe like, I don't know about that you know what I'm saying? Like but for my own self, I feel like I dropped the ball on me. And maybe because I was so used to her being the one to do it.
Yes.
I was so used to her being the one to call those shots and make those judgment calls and so forth that I didn't have to, because Hazel would do it. You know what I'm saying? And my son kind of falls on me the same way I fell on her. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm going to pray for it. I'm going to ask for it. And hopefully the spirit of discernment will come and I'll be able to decipher through the crazies.
Yes.
To the right thing.
There you go. Yes.
So is there anything that you're doing, anything coming up, book signings or anything like that you're doing in the community that people might be able to come and see you or anything, support you?
Nothing right now. And that's because my books sold out. The 200 that I had sold out, which is wonderful. So we're in the process of getting them on Walmart.com so that I can give people the link that need to get the book. So nothing right now. We're just in the middle of getting that contract together.
So if somebody wanted to reach out to you for a counseling session or coaching session, how can they, is there a website? Is there an email? How do we reach you?
I'll give you the email address.
Okay.
Well, they can do my personal one. KAYOH26 at AOL.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna give you this one. Osbornemarriagetalks at gmail.com.
Okay.
Osbornemarriagetalks.com.
Okay, so, and I know I have it in the bio package that she sent me. So for everybody, if you're pre-marriage, you're already married, maybe you have some questions, you have some concerns, maybe you need some coaching or a mentor to help you better grow for your marriage, for your spouse or within that relationship. We're going to make sure that we have all of Mrs. Osborne's information in the description box, so you'll know how to contact her and you can seek the help you need. And you don't have to be in Ohio with her to get this done. She does do Zoom sessions, and I'm sure she has a PayPal account set up for you, so you can make sure you pay her for her time. Okay. Right. And when the book is reprinted and back out, hopefully she'll let me know, and then I can go ahead on and blast that through social media and let people know that the book is back in publication or production. That we have a new reprint of it and where they'll be able to get it as well. I will also be purchasing the book as soon as it's available. As you know, GC4 Enterprises, their authors, I absolutely adore them. I have Minister Carla J's book over here, so I can't wait to add your book to it. I'm gonna have a whole bookshelf of just the GC4. Right. But I love the books that you guys are publishing and the books that's being written and published through GC4 Enterprises, because of it's like a roadmap. I love the stories. I love the information that you give. And like you said, at the end of each one, you have like the different questions and stuff to help you continuously think and build upon yourself and your relationships. And that's what I love about the books that are coming through GC4 the most is the homework after.
Right.
Yeah, the homework after. I just feel like it's a real benefit to growing and being healthy, just, as an individual and as an individual in your relationship. Oh, which makes me, I'm sorry, I know I said I was going to let you go. So a lot of times in relationships, people lose themselves, right? Because they take on the whole. Can you talk just a little bit about maintaining your individuality within your relationship?
Oh, that is such a must, because the female, a lot of times it's the female too, that can lose who they are, who they were, their personality, and conform to what they feel the spouse wants them to be. No, you got to stay true to yourself. Now, there's some parts that you might conform, tame down some things, but Karen is going to be Karen. And he loves that, because like, I'll switch up my hair. He like you say, he don't know when he come home what he gonna see, who he gonna see, what she doing, what is she cooking, what's going on, she in here dancing, you know what I'm saying? I always tell him, and we say that to other couples, sex start in the morning. So in that good morning, hello, how you doing, texting during the day, I can't wait to see you, hope your day going well. Stay true to yourself, be you, because if you have gained that man, or he has gained that woman, they like who that person was. So don't lose that person. Don't lose them.
That's the person that they approached, that they dated, that they married, that they fell in love with. So so now all of a sudden you become like this, it's like, no, what happened to the girl that went to work every day and got up and put on a different wig and did this and did you? They want. So okay, so ladies and gentlemen, don't lose yourself. Can you conform some things? Yes. So if your man isn't a drinker, then maybe you want to tame back on drinking. You know what I'm saying? So that, you could see that happening.
Right.
But if he met you and you was a CEO, don't stop being a CEO. Keep being a CEO. You know what I'm saying? Like, he probably loved that about you, that sense of that form of independence that you had, that businesswoman's mind and so forth. So maintain being a CEO. Now, maybe you don't want to be a CEO for that company anymore, but you're going to be a CEO for y'all company, your own thing. But either way it go, you're still that CEO that he met, fell in love with, and married. So
that's
don't throw who you are away for the relationship. Figure out how to make it all come together. Okay.
Go.
Sister Karen, I wish I could hug you.
No. So good to meet you.
I'm so excited. And I definitely want to do this again with you. The next book, the next event, whatever it is, please make sure you include our Faithfully Her audience. I absolutely enjoyed this today. Do you want to leave us with any final thoughts or words of wisdom?
All I can say is, when you're in a relationship, again, remember to be intentional with what you do, your actions, and it's a team. Just remember, it's a team. It's not one person or the other. We are a team, and that will help make the marriage work. And the tools, you need tools, and work the tools.
Amen. I know you guys enjoyed Sister Karen as much as I did today. We're going to make sure we have Sister Karen back with us sometime in the future. We're going to keep talking about these things, marriage, relationships, and making sure that what she say, that triangle, that God is at the top. Okay. We're going to keep working on ourselves, because Faithfully Her is all about improving and making sure that we are always being the best versions of ourselves. And that includes in our relationships. So to everybody that tuned in, thank you so much for being here with us. As always, this is Faithfully Her. I love you guys. And remember, when you're writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. You guys have a blessed week in Christ. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.